First up on that agenda is what may well be one of the more important items that we deal with tonight. It's a recognition of the retirement of City Planner Mike Ridley for his 30 years of service to the citizens of Eagan. And I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go on this. I'm assuming it's going to be
Jill and Mike will go to the podium.
our Community Development Director, Jill Hootmacher. And she'll have some comments, and I suspect there are probably others who have comments, maybe including Mr. Ridley.
Maybe. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mike Ridley was hired as Eagan's zoning administrator / planner in 1989. In 1995, he was promoted to senior planner, and in 2003, the job was reclassified as city planner. Over the past 30 years, Mike has planned the city's transformation from a developing suburb to a nearly fully developed city and the state's 6th largest employment center. Mike has overseen 200+ unit subdivisions, the development of the Promenade Shopping Center, the redevelopment of Cedar Grove from the city's first vision of the redevelopment to its successful completion, and the redevelopment of Central Park Commons. Most recently, Mike has been instrumental in the development of Viking lakes, including from working the process through the AUAR process, reviewing design guidelines, and being one of the city's primary contacts to the developer. Having served Eagan for over 30 years, Mike is a veritable Wikipedia of the Eagan City Code and development history. When you want to know what happened, why it happened, when it happened, you go to Mike. Mike is valued by residents for his willingness to listen, by developers for his ability to problem solve, and by city staff and probably everyone for his sense of humor and sharp wit. I'd like to share a brief personal story. It's one that I'm sure Mike does not remember, but it made a big impression on me a long time ago. So I first met Mike nearly 20 years ago when I was working at the Dakota County CDA. And in 2001, the state planning conference was held up north, Brainerd or Midgey or somewhere. The conference, the starting date of the conference was September 12th. And the drive up north was grim, listening to nonstop news coverage. And I'm sure you all remember, we all felt pretty raw in those early days. And perhaps not surprisingly, at the end of the day, the conference attendees gathered in the most logical place. And I remember talking to Mike, and he made me laugh. And he made me feel that it wasn't really all hopeless, that somehow we were all going to get through this. It was exactly what I needed at that time, and that has stuck with me all of these years. So Mike has skills and knowledge that will be difficult, if not impossible, to replace. But what I will miss most about Mike, and I think I can probably speak for all of us, is Mike's ability to make us laugh, make us think, and make us feel better about the world and ourselves and our place in it. So with that, Mike, please accept this plaque in appreciation of your service. Thank you for your dedication to the city of Eagan. Thank you for being my colleague and my friend, and I will miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be brief. All the accomplishments Jill read off wasn't just me. There was a lot of people involved, and you've got to have good staff and good team to pull those things off. So I was just a part of it, and it's been awesome. I've worked with a lot of good people, still do. And the last thing I want to say is just having a city council that has staff's back has been huge through this whole period. You guys have been in this position for a long time, but even prior to that, if you don't have the council behind you, stuff doesn't get done the way it should get done. So I'm appreciative of that. So I'm going to stop there. I appreciate the acknowledgement, and I feel very fortunate to have worked here for 30 years, so thank you.
Mike, if you wanna go back and take your seat over here while we make comments so that you don't have to stand out there and look like you're being celebrated. But you're not gonna get by without at least one person up here making some comments, and I assume probably more than that. And I'll try to be brief as well as a city staff. I know we're gonna have an opportunity to wish you well as you move into retirement. Jill reflected on the first time that she met Mike. I think the first time that Mike interacted and I was about this time of year, about 19 years ago. And it was my first interaction with the city at all, on a fairly high-profile land use change. And my first interaction was with Mike at about midnight, after a 6-hour meeting, where really all he wanted to do was go home to St. Paul, and all I wanted to do was talk about land use and the council decision had just made or not made. And I won't go into the details of that, but it was an unwelcome meeting on Mike's part, for sure. A few years later, I was elected to the city council, and I found Mike to be everything that Jill just said he is. He is a font of institutional knowledge and memory, one that it will be difficult, probably impossible, to replace. I know how many times up here on the dais, as a council member and as mayor, I've been utterly bewildered by how we got into a situation. The Eagan history book over here filled us in. Never necessarily took responsibility for it, but at least knew what happened, which was fair enough. He wasn't the one making the decisions. But in that time, Mike has been a really valuable resource to me. He's taught me a lot about how to think about land use, which is really a lot of the work that we on the council do. And over that time, we also became friends outside of council chambers. And I won't go into that too much, but Mike, shortly after I became mayor, I was told by sworn city administrator Tom Hedges that I had to attend a golf tournament, even though I hadn't golfed in over 20 years. And shortly after that tournament, my wife contacted Mike Ridley because she wanted to help me get into golf and learn how to golf. And Mike was the one who was brave enough to actually take me out on the golf course the first few times. And he taught me how to love getting up at 5:30 on Saturday morning for a 6 o'clock tee time, because if you played it right, you'd beat the crowds and still make it home in time for lunch. He's a great guy. I think he's been well respected in the development community. I think he's always represented Eagan well in terms of what Eagan needs from developers and what the council's vision and philosophy is. And he's been just really a tremendous planner, and he deserves a lot of, but not all of the credit for how Eagan has developed and the relationship that we have with the development community. So Mike, thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I will miss you greatly.
Thank you.
Other comments? Councilor Hanson.
And Mike, we hope that you look back fondly on those 30 years with Eagan, because we understand you've had to put up with members of the council for over half of that 30 years, you know. And when you add my 6 years on the planning commission, when you put up with me, it's been, gosh, 16 years. So it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. But working on the planning commission and now on the council, I've always appreciated your straightforward approach to problem solving and being the font of wisdom when we had questions and being the historian. And if we didn't know why something happened, it was always ask Mike, he'll know. And so, and as an individual with almost 2 years of experience in retirement, I assure you, you'll love it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councilor Buck.
So, when you think about it, you've been with the city since 1989. You can look around the entire community and all of the developments and changes that have occurred, the chances are you had a hand in it. So there's an awful lot of you in Eagan, and for that, we'll always be thankful. It's a good thing. Now, I've known you since 1996, when I was appointed to the Planning Commission. So in one way or another, I've been working with Mike for over 20 years. And it's a testament to his character and all that time we've spent working together that the best stories I have to tell about Mike aren't suitable for a cable audience. But you know, one thing that I always appreciated about Mike was his accessibility, his wealth of knowledge, and his honesty. I mean, there are a number of times where I'd come to him with a question, and I appreciated the frank response of him telling me, well, that's a really bad idea, but here are 3 alternatives that you really ought to consider. And, you know, darn it if they weren't really good ideas and better than what I'd been thinking of in the first place. So, you know, that experience and you know, the honesty and just the way that you engage people will certainly be missed. At the same time, you know, we all wish what's best for you and whatever comes next.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate that.
And I'm just gonna reiterate everything, but Mike, you've been a joy. My harebrained ideas, you always listen to, and then say no. But the fact is, you were always there to listen and come up with a different solution, and I always appreciated, I've learned so much from you. I wish you the best. I know we'll see you around. If not, we'll see you for a beer. And somebody's gotta teach Russ how to use that thing now. So best of luck.
Thank you.
Councilman Tui.
Yes, I guess I can ditto everyone on here, but I want to thank you too for your sense of humor, because it's been fun. It really has been fun working with you, and the best to you, and thank you for everything. We'll miss your knowledge base, that's for sure. We might have to call you.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you.
With that, happy trails, my friend. You'll be sitting up here for the rest of the meeting and through
Right.
the rest of the month, correct?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Excellent. And then after that, you won't be such a big deal around here.
Right.
You'll be no deal.
Thanks, Mike. Congratulations.